beautiful day outside today.
Such a beautiful day outside today.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On this video, we are...
I keep forgetting you taking a video and I'm taking a video, but like a Snapchat video. Damn, I look grown.
Okay, anyways. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. She felt like she needed to say that.
I know.
I love this Taco Bell.
My daddy's face. I feel like if I get lashes and shit, I look like a girl.
I thought you looked like a girl already.
Girl, I look like my daddy. Don't even do that.
You do look like your dad, but you still
I
look
look like anything with my dad's face.
You look copy pasted a little bit from your daddy. On this week's video, we are going to be reviewing another movie. Hey! This week we are going to be doing Annabelle Comes Home. As you guys know, Annabelle is part of the Conjuring family. She has her own movie. I'm not sure. Is this the second or the third one? Annabelle movie.
To be honest, I don't know.
It's one of those, but she is part of the Conjuring family because she has been featured in the Conjuring movies as well. I have seen all of them. They're all extremely amazing. I love all of them, so I am holding extremely high expectations for this movie. Yes, I am. And I know you should never walk into a movie kind of like expecting anything, because you should just kind of go in and, you know, whatever, just watch it and see if you like it or not. But this time around, like, nah, I'm coming with expectations. I want to see what they're doing, how the story's gonna develop. I hope it's amazing. I mean, they all have already proven to be really good, and the people making them have proved that they're really good at what they do. So I think they're gonna be good. So I'm really excited for it. I haven't really seen the synopsis or anything like that. I have to look that up. We're gonna go watch it in about 20 minutes. And once we're out, I would have the full like review. What did I think? Did I like it? Nah, spoilers. I always try to do like spoiler-free like reviews, but they don't really end up working because I love to share. If you guys want to see what Annabelle is about, continue on, and we'll see each other in a little bit. Hi guys, welcome back. We just left the movies. We just finished watching Annabelle Comes Home. Thoughts? It was intense, but we'll talk about it later on when we get our little setup better. We'll catch up. Annabelle comes home, bitch, and she definitely came home and brought everybody along with her. We are reviewing Annabelle Comes Home. For those of you who are not familiar with this movie, it is a thriller / mystery. If you guys have ever seen the Conjuring movies, it is part of the Conjuring universe, but Annabelle does have its own movies on the side. This is actually the third movie in the Annabelle universe, and I have no idea which in the Conjuring, because I know the Conjuring has a couple. So all I know, it is the third movie in the Annabelle universe. It stars obviously the same people kind of from the original Annabelle. Was directed by Gary Doberman. I hope I'm saying that right. It was actually written by himself and another writer who I thought I wrote it down, but I did not. Is starring Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, McKenna Grace, Madison Eisman, and Katie Serif. I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong, Katie. Among other actors, you know Vera and you know Patrick. They've basically done most of the movies, so they're very mainstream. You should know who they are. They're kind of like the main characters of this movie, although once we get into the whole actual review and story, they're not as much in this movie as their daughter. Their daughter kind of then becomes the main character of the story, along with two other young girls. And for those of you who do know about Annabelle and these movies, then you of course know that this is part of the Conjuring universe. It is the third installment in the Annabelle movies, and it just kind of follows the story and continues it to where it kind of left off. A little summary, actually, before we get started, you guys already know the drill. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. For those of you who don't know anything about the movie, or you do, but you know, it's been kind of a while since you've seen it, or because there's so many, it's kind of hard to keep track. Annabelle is a doll. Everybody knows that. Well, at least the people who've seen the movie or know about the story. It's this doll that's kind of like possessed by evil spirits, and every movie it's kind of like a different family that had Annabelle and everything that they kind of went through with her. And for those of you who do know, the Warrens, which is Ed and Lorraine Warren, they are like the, I wouldn't, how would you describe them? They're kind of like, they work with the Catholic Church in a way to kind of like warn off evil spirits, or like help preserve these artifacts that have at one point or still are possessed by negative spirits, and they kind of like keep them in a safe place in their home. And you know, so obviously they don't go out and continue to do horrible things. And Annabelle is one of the dolls that kind of lives with them. The first movie from Annabelle, you kind of get to see how Annabelle the doll actually came to be possessed by an evil spirit, and then the first family that kind of had her and what they went through with her. And then from there we jump to the second Annabelle movie, which is kind of the Annabelle origin. So it literally stars like the beginning of the doll itself and the little girl that eventually became the doll. And then which is actually the second movie was supposed to be the first movie, and then the first movie was what followed behind the second movie, but they made the second movie first and then the first movie second. So in the second movie, you kind of get to see what happens to then in the first movie. You understand why that little girl, well, not the little girl, but the young girl from next door, she was in the cult crazy, and then she kind of killed herself and possessed the doll, and so on, etc., etc. And then the third movie, we go in the Conjuring movies, because you don't see that in the third movie. You understand how Ed Warren and Lorraine Warren came to know about Annabelle and eventually became in possession of her. In this third movie specifically, you see them obviously when they grabbed the doll and when they were bringing the doll to their house. From there on, that's kind of where the movie starts. Just kind of a quick summary where Annabelle came from and everything that she represented up to the third movie right now. So third movie starts, which is Annabelle Comes Home, and it's basically the story of Lorraine and Ed when they first brought her to their home, and what happened to them, because it wasn't really like, oh, okay, we're just gonna put her in the box and she's gonna stay there. No, like you actually get to see, you know, they kind of went through some things themselves when they first brought the doll to their house and how that happened. That's what the third movie kind of goes into. You kind of get to see the Warrens and their first experience truly with Annabelle in their home. Quick summary of the actual movie. So the movie starts off with Lorraine and Ed grabbing Annabelle. They're driving home to take her, to put her in the room that they put her in. And once they kind of go through some things where I'm going to go into detail once we actually start the actual review of the movie. On the way to get to the house, they go through some things, but eventually they get to the house. They lock Annabelle up. Their daughter is there. She's kind of going through some things. She's kind of like, I believe she's 10 years old at the moment that the movie's taking place. They only have one daughter, and she obviously knows what her parents do, and she's in that stage in school where kids can be bullies and they can be mean, and because of the line of work that her parents do, which back in the times, I believe this movie kind of takes place in the 70s, 60s, I would say. And you know, because of how things were back in the day, I mean, still things are, you know, to this day people are still bullies, but I would say back in the day people were a little bit more cruel in the way, because everything was so standard and everything was so like by the book, and society had this like image of what was right and what was perfect. So anything outside of that, you know, you were like horrible, you were a freak or whatever the third. So kind of this is the same thing that the girl was experiencing. Her parents obviously being paranormal hunters, or you know, experience with exorcisms and a whole bunch of stuff, wasn't kind of like the everyday 9-to-5 job that any other parent had. So obviously she was facing some issues in school, which the parents kind of noticed, but you know, they just kind of gave her advice the best they could, but she kind of had to deal with it. And it's her birthday's coming up, but her parents are leaving for the weekend, because obviously they do these going from city to city and state to state, even countries, to kind of, you know, look for evil and expel evil or destroy evil, defeat evil basically, or contain evil. They left her in charge with her babysitter the babysitter, very sweet girl, very nice girl. She loves their daughter, and she tries to help her and take care of her while, you know, her parents are away, and in a way also, you know, kind of like advise her and make her not feel so left out, because obviously she's been bullied by other kids, and you know, she invited all the kids to her birthday party and nobody really seemed like they were gonna go. So you know, you feel bad for her, you know. It must not be easy for her dealing with all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like, you know your parents are doing something good, and you know that what they're doing is true, so you can't really like be angry at them either. So she was in a very like special position. The babysitter had a friend, a best friend, who this is actually the person that caused everything to go wrong. So McKenna Grace, she's the one that played Vera and Patrick's daughter. Katie Sarif is actually the best friend of the babysitter, and she is intrigued with the house and the room, the secret room where they keep everything, and she kind of hangs around them the whole day because she wants to find out what secrets they have in the house. Eventually it comes to her actually getting into the room where she was not supposed to go. She ignored all the signs that pointed to her not going into the room, and she still did. And she basically, long story short, she summoned Annabelle and let her out. So now Annabelle is breaking havoc the whole weekend in this house, terrorizing these 3 girls, and the parents are away, which are the only people that can actually do something. That's kind of where the whole movie takes place, and they're in the Warren's household with their daughter and the babysitter and the best friend. If you guys, I always say this, cannot stress this enough, if you guys do not want to be spoiled, if you guys are not interested in finding anything out about the movie, you are not obligated to watch. You can just click out, continue, keep pushing, keep going. It's not gonna affect me. If you guys are interested in being spoiled, or you guys have already seen the movie and you guys want to feel like you're having a conversation with me, or if you just want to hear my side of the story to see if it compares or contrasts to your version of it, or if you're just curious to see what the movie's about, to see if you're interested in watching it, then of course go ahead, continue on. I'm not gonna stop you, and I'm actually excited that you guys are ready to watch this video with me. So if you guys are ready for the official review, let's go. First things first, for those of you, and I think I've said this before, for those of you that don't know, but now you know, Annabelle, the Conjuring movies are like one of my faves, you know, when it comes to scary movies, one of my favorite franchises, because, well, number one, they've been pretty consistent in their storylines, and number two, like, the acting has always been good, and like I said, the story has always been very consistent. So all the movies always tend to be very good. Even if you're like, okay, well, they cannot make this one better than the last one, they still find a way to make each movie very good. So obviously I was coming into this movie with a lot of expectations, because I have already seen all the other movies. Yes, I've watched all the Conjurings, I've watched all the Annabelle movies, so yes, I'm very familiar with the story. I know most of everything that's going on, and I'm excited because I know there's another Conjuring movie coming out soon, so I'm very extremely looking forward to that. Obviously, hopefully, if my YouTube channel is still going and prospering, I will be doing a review for that movie when the time comes. A lot of expectations for this movie. So I never like to go into a movie with expectations, but this is one of the ones where I do make an exception, because I already know what's at play, and there's just certain expectations that you hope that are met, just because of all the other ones that, you know, have already come before it. I do have to say, it did not disappoint at all. I was not surprised in that. At first I was kind of worried, and I was like, it might not be very good, or it might not be as good as the others, which I will say, well, no, it was good. I will say it did have certain parts where it felt very like dragged on, like it was just very like and then it picked up again, you know. I would say it did have those moments, as opposed to the other movies. The other movies have always been very like da all the way to the end. So this one, there was a little there that kind of didn't do it for me in that aspect. Everything else, like the storyline was very truthful to everything that we already know about the characters, and then added on knowledge that we didn't know before, that kind of connects squares, circles, dots here and there. The actors, phenomenal. I feel like the Conjuring franchise and the people that are in charge of casting these movies always do an excellent job. You have your regulars that are always there, that are always going to be amazing, and then the new people that come in who I feel because of the actors that they're working with, you kind of see in them that they feel the pressure to be equally as good. So it makes the movie really good. The production, the authenticity, everything, the doll itself, which is what everybody kind of always goes for. Everything was amazing. When the movie starts, it starts with Lorraine and Ed. They had just picked Annabelle and they're actually driving home. I will have to say this, it wasn't my favorite Annabelle movie out of all the ones that I've watched before, but it wasn't bad. Like, I actually did like it. I enjoyed it. I do recommend for people to go watch it because it follows the storyline, and if you want to continue the consistency of watching all the movies, then for sure go ahead and watch it. I feel like a lot of people like myself, notice like, okay, this here and there are things that, I wish would have been different. I think my thing was because I thought when I was going to go watch it that it was Lorraine and Ed were going to be the main characters present at the story the whole time, and they actually were not. They were there at the beginning of the movie, and then they were there at the end of the movie, but everything in between was, like I said, the daughter, the babysitter, and the babysitter's best friend. At the beginning of the movie, when they're driving home, the car breaks down and Ed gets down to check on the tire. Lorraine is in the car, and you guys know that her character is able to like see visions and kind of in a way see dead people and a whole bunch of stuff. So she realized that they literally had parked in front of a cemetery, and she saw like all these spirits, and she saw the doll, like Annabelle was trying to play with them, and they really had like a very scary moment that happened to them. But obviously they prevail and came through because number one, they're like original gangsters, and number two is like the first 5 minutes of the movie, I doubt they're gonna like disappear into thin air. Come on, like that's not gonna happen. But it was still a very like, it starts you off like on a high, so you're like, oh yes, like I'm excited, I'm ready. Like I really like that. I really appreciated that. Like it started the movie on like a good note. Then they get home, and then you incorporate the daughter and the babysitter and the best friend, and that's when the movie like it's just okay, yeah, like okay, I get it. Then when Lorraine and Ed leave for the weekend because they have to go work on another case, and then the babysitter comes to stay, then the best friend shows up and she starts creating havoc. That's when the movie picks up a little bit more. So you later come to find out that the best friend of the babysitter, her father died in a car accident with the daughter. So she has always blamed herself for what happened to her dad. So at the end, you realize that the purpose of her, conjuring the doll to like speak to her and going into the room and talking to spirits to see if anybody would answer her back, she just really wanted to see if there was any way that she could communicate with her father to see, kind of like make peace with the fact that she felt guilty for killing her dad, even though, like it wasn't her fault or anything like that. So you start to understand that. But at first, like, you really get frustrated with her and you get angry with her because she's nosy. She wants to open every door. She wants to touch everything. She wants to ask every question. Like, she's making the little girl nervous because she's all up on the grill, does not even know the flavor. She's like literally going up and down these people's houses, looking at everything. Well, Lorraine and Ed's house, investigating everything. Like, girl, have some respect. Like, that's not your house. Like, relax, sis, you're doing too much. So she eventually, sneaking around and investigating everything and touching and meddling where she was not supposed to, she unlocks the door to the room, the secret room. I think everybody that's seen the Conjuring movies and the Annabelle movies know what I'm talking about. She goes into the room. She basically like summons the thing is like, okay, that room contains objects that are like I said, possessed or are like a doorway for negative entities to kind of like be able to come to this side of the the human life or form or whatever. She did not only awoke Annabelle, she awoke every single negative, evil entity that was in that room. So when I tell you mess, hot mess. So they're not only worrying about Annabelle, who's like the worst evil spirit there, they're dealing with every other spirit in that room. She literally awoke every spirit in the room. Let's say like that, every spirit, every negative spirit in the room, she awoke all of them. So these three little girls are like in that house, and everything happens to them. The little girl, because she knows that this is what her parents do, she kind of was the one that understood, but she's still a little girl. So obviously when these horrible things are happening to her, she's frightened, she's scared, but she reacts correctly. Like she knows what to say, she knows what to do, like where to run to. Like this little girl is a gangster. She did really good. Like her parents will be very proud of her, because of her, thanks to her, everybody else survived. She almost got like taken and possessed for a second, but she pulled through. And then the parents show up all the way at the end. You know, like when everything is done, they show up and it's like, okay, done. And you're like, really, dudes? Like you guys were the ones that we were waiting for the whole movie, and you literally show up at the end. But I guess I get it, because it gave, you know, the younger generation a chance to like shine through and be on the spotlight. Their daughter, who I'm pretty sure later on in the stories is gonna become a big part of the characters in the movie. She kind of got her first little shine in Solo, which for those of you who saw the Nun movie, you saw a little bit of their daughter in that movie. You kind of got to see a little sneak peek of her. Oh, by the way, the Nun is also part of the Annabelle and Conjuring universe. So if you saw that movie, you got to see a little glimpse of their daughter. And now in this movie, you literally got to see her be kind of like the main focus point of the movie. Everything happens to them. You guys, you know, with scary movies, you guys already know what you're gonna get into. My favorite scenes, I would have to say, are any scene with Bera and Patrick, because they're so phenomenal. I love them. I love when the little girl, there was a scene where one of the entities, which is kind of like a werewolf, he was trying to kill this boy that came to like help the girls, and the girl was in the car too, and somehow like she was like scared, frightened, and then the thing disappeared, and it was the boy. So they were both looking at each other like, did this happen? Did you see that? Did I see that? So I thought that was funny, because they were just like, what the hell is going on right now? Key scenes, I like the daughter comes to a point where she realizes that she messed up. She actually gets locked in the room, and you're thinking she's dead, but she's actually alive. She survived all of that. She was tormented horribly in that room, but I feel like in a way that also helped her see the truth. And she really like, okay, she realized she messed up. She realized that there's certain things that she had to let go no matter what. When Bera comes back, which is Lorraine, she's able to talk to her and see through her, like, okay, this is what happened to you, maybe this is why you were trying to do this. And she kind of like reaffirms for her, like, it's not your fault, your father doesn't blame you, your father loves you, he's in a better place. And she was able to make peace with it. I really love that scene. I feel like if you see the movie and you see this girl and everything that she puts them through and everything that she goes through to then at the end like go through that, like you understand and you feel for her a little bit and you comprehend, you know, why she did what she did. So I feel like that scene was very vital for her to kind of get that closure of like, okay, I'm good, I can move on, I can move past this. Their daughter, that was like my overall favorite scene at the end, and it wasn't scary or had anything to do with the main plot of the movie, but I thought it was very sweet, just because, you know, this is a subject that kids deal with nowadays, and just to kind of see a happy ending to something like that, it gives you hope and it makes you feel good, especially when it comes to young kids. She invited everybody to her party. Nobody showed up, obviously. She was very sad. So it was just like her parents, and then the babysitter and the babysitter friend. And they were all there. And, you know, she's just like, okay, you know, like, you guys came, thank you. And then she knocks on the door and everybody comes, because one of the kids, funny thing, that bullied her in school was actually the brother of the babysitter's best friend, the one that her dad died in an accident with her, and she blamed herself. That was her little brother. So I guess she, like, after she found out, like, oh, you've been bullying this little girl, blah 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 blah, and after everything they went through, she kind of like, you know, roughed him up a little bit, and he came to the party and he invited everybody. So all the kids from the school came, and she finally got like a big birthday party. And I thought that was sweet. I thought that was very cute, especially when all the scares and all the screams and all the tension, like, oh, it ended like on a cute, happy note. although you know what's coming up, it's not probably good after that, but because you know there's going to be another case and it's going to be another story. But it was a happy moment. It was a cute movie. It was, you know, and I know that sounds weird because it's like a thriller, it's like a mystery, it's a scary movie, but it was cute in the sense of like, you know, these young girls like persevere, they survive, and especially in their daughter, because you already know Lorraine and you know Ed, you know their characters, you know what they're capable of, you know what they do. So to see their child like be this strong force as well, like it makes you like, you're not even their parent, her parent, and you feel proud for her. And then to see, you know, because honestly, like I said, the storyline is mainly about their daughter. So you see her like in school and getting bullied and being by herself and then making a cake, and so just you follow her story and you feel for her. So I thought it was sweet that at the end she got, you know, her little party with all the kids in school. I thought that was sweet. The movie overall was really good. I like it. I recommend it. I recommend everybody go watch it. It was pretty good. Like I said, it follows the original storyline pretty up close, so nothing to say about that. There were moments that I did feel like dragged on, but it wasn't everything. It wasn't so much to the point where it was bothersome, or it wasn't so much to the point where I would say, okay, don't watch it, don't waste your time, because honestly, it's just not it. It was really good. I like it. At points from 1 to 10, I would probably give it I would say an 8. Actually, I would, no, let me take that back. I would give it a 9. I would give it a 9 because the storyline was good, the production was good, the actors were good. The only reason why I don't give it a full 10 is because, number one, Lorraine and Ed were not, like I said, in most of the movie like I thought they would be. I thought the movie would revolve around them, and it did not. They were there, but they were not really there mostly. And because, like I said, there were moments where the movie did drag on a little bit, so that kind of puts you in this like, so that was it. But everything else was really good. The story followed pretty up close to what we already know and what we're used to, so I always appreciate that and respect that, because like I said, The Conjuring are like one of my favorite franchises when it comes to scary movies. So I appreciate that they continue to make them good, that they continue to stick to the storylines, and that they continue to keep the actors, you know, truthful to what they've always played. That's all I have to say about this movie. If you guys liked this review, along with all the other reviews that I have in my channel, please go watch those videos. I'll leave the link below. And you want to continue to see me make reviews, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave your comments down below of what other movies you would like to see me review. If you would like to see me continue to do reviews, or like if you want me to review other things, or if you just want me to do other things. I am working on some challenges that I want to get into. My channel, my original idea was for monologues, because my passion is acting and performing, so I am trying to get back into those monologues. I have one on my channel already, which if you scroll all the way down, you'll see it as my first video. I am trying to put I am trying to put up some monologues and work on that. It is a little more nerve-wracking because it entitles me performing, and it is a little more like, to me, I take that as serious as a heart attack, because I always want to do the best that I feel like I possibly can. So I do put a lot of pressure on myself. I honestly haven't performed in a long time, so I'm a little rusty, but I'm excited to get back into that. I want to put up some videos for you guys so you guys can see the other side of it. I'm not just reviewing other people's performances. I want you to guys see my performance, so you guys can tell me too what's good and what's not, what I need to work on, and what you guys appreciated. Like always, thank you so much for watching my videos. I love doing this for you guys, and I hope you guys love watching it. Obviously, I'm learning. I am a work in progress, but I am opening to learning and having all these experiences, you know, that come with having a YouTube channel. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and everything in between.